just the normal life we had growing up. We weren't rich and we weren't poor, but we had enough. Never tell a lie, never steal a dime, and that's understood. Daddy raised us by a code, and I hollered every deep down back in the woods. Liquor ran as clear as a mountain spring. It was our tradition, our way of life, and our family name. Daddy died in June, and man, it tore my world apart. But I carry that man in his old-fashioned ways down deep in my heart. I'm living proof God's got more for me, and I'm living proof. I've seen the gates of hell, and I walk right through. Yeah, life can knock me down if it wants to. I'll stand right up and fight back, 'cause I'm living proof.
Hooch, branch water, bush whiskey, corn liquor, hillbilly pop, Mountain Dew, even white lightning, whatever you call it, moonshine is sure to be at the top of the list when it comes to the Appalachia culture. When some people hear the term moonshiners, they often think of lawless, ragged, uneducated mountain folks, just working the hills and hollers of the Appalachian Mountains, mixing batches of clear liquid from rotten corn with water from the closest stream, distilling it through whatever metal parts they can find. What has often been reported about this lifestyle is a whole bunch of fighting for pride, territory, and the right to make the best doggone moonshine around.
I think that'll roll. Let's see what happens.
Moonshine gets its name from the way it was made, by the light of the moon. The Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, otherwise known as the bad guys, defined moonshine, and I quote, as illicit distilled spirits that are manufactured to avoid payment of the distilled spirits excise tax. In other words, if you ain't paying taxes on it, the government says it's illegal. For this reason, ever since craft came to America, likely from Northern Ireland, most shiners worked under the moon to get their product made. Now some say when moonshine first came to these parts, you could stand in the valleys and see hundreds of still sites glowing in the mountainsides. As far back as my buddies Van Fields and Jeff Edwards can remember, their families have depended on moonshine as a means of survival.
My great-grandfather was Henry Fields, and I'd say he started out shining at an early age, maybe around 1912, 1913, around that, and leads on into the 20s. Right before Prohibition started. And I guess maybe in his prime time, Prohibition hit, and that just led to a big boom for people that had to live that way or survive or feed their family.
How I got into moonshining, I was young. I actually had a neighbor there at the house, and nobody knew he moonshined, but he had a still set behind the creek. And this was right there in the middle of Alpharetta. The guy stayed drunk all the time, so he actually pulled me back here to kind of watch his stuff. I never told Dad about it because Dad would have gotten mad, but that's how really I got into it. Matter of fact, when he left Alpharetta, he gave me a still. That was my first still. Of course, our family was involved in it. Some of the family was involved in it. You know, they were more or less the outlaws and stuff, but several different things.
With this new interest in moonshine, y'all need to know that it ain't as easy, prosperous, or safe as some would have you believe. Oftentimes, when it comes to moonshine, the law adds a little excitement to the process.
There's been times to where it's been very close when we were making whiskey. Me, my grandfather, my dad. Back before my time, before I was born, I can remember stories of my grandfather serving time in Tallahassee prison. They were also busted in 1981. The local sheriff come down, and I'd say it was about an hour and a half raid. They busted a still. Not busted. Busted means the law has done caught you. That's what busted means to me. The law got lost. They couldn't find their way out. Daddy had to show them how to get back through the woods, back to their cars. I think one lost a .38 or a pistol or some sort. Another deputy lost a pair of handcuffs. We had to go back and get them. We actually turned them back into the sheriff's department.
It was like a scene out of the Dukes of Hazzard. Sheriff's deputies converged on the still located about 100 yards off Mount Zion Church Road near the Aiken County-Edgefield County line shortly after midnight. Deep in the woods, they found a still covered with pine boughs. Underneath the foliage was more than 350 gallons of fermenting corn mash, connected to a solid copper still which was heated by natural gas. Sheriff Ralph Gunnell said the still was one of the finest he'd ever seen. After part of the still was destroyed by deputies, they returned back to the main road where they searched the yard of 31-year-old Charles Fields. In that yard, they found a water pipe connecting the house with the still. Under his father's home, investigators found parts of another inoperative still. In a metal building, 58 plastic 1-gallon jugs of moonshine was discovered, along with 12 100-pound bags of refined sugar. Fields has been charged with operating an illegal whiskey still and for possessing non-tax-paid liquor. From deep down in Aiken County, Richard Howard, Channel 6 News.
Well, actually, the major run-in, what caused me to melt a 30-gallon still down, happened in early 90s. Actually, the guy is one of my friends now, so I mean, he's retired. So, but really, he just they were after me, and I knew it. I mean, the guy, they actually come in the Waffle House and spoke to me. Jeff, we know what you're doing. We're watching all this other kind of. What are you doing down there in the woods? I'm like, I'm just stirring the pot. So I knew they was after me. So they come running in on me, which I knew I expected. They come down there. I was doing exactly what I told them I was doing. I had a pot of gumbo on the burner, all from a bowl. Only thing I did was make them mad. It made it worse. So I quit for a while. After that, I ran into him in a gun store, and he bumped into me, and I'm like, "You're still looking for me?" He goes, "I'm retired now." I said, "Why was you after me so heavy?" Because the guy that bought a couple of gallons from me had got stopped, and he turned me in, and I asked him, I said, "Well, I guess y'all poured that out," didn't he? He goes, "Hell no, we drank it." So, I mean, it's pretty good. I'm like, well, glad you enjoyed it.
This here's crossover pipe. This is what some moonshiners call a crossover. This hooks up to your cooling drum.
Now, one of the biggest issues when it comes to the fascination of moonshine is the dangers and the risks that come with the territory.
After my grandfather had passed away, a couple of days later, I had 3 or 4 barrels of beer to run. At that time, I didn't have a clear mind. I had my mind on my grandfather, my family. I just lost my dad. I'd actually just lost my father-in-law too, within a matter of days after before my father passed away. I went in to do my thing. I went in to run my beer because I knew that's what I had to do. I pumped in, fired up, had everything running good. I'd say 45 minutes to an hour passed, and I was sitting down. I was watching the money pot, as my grandfather would say. Had a lot of things on my mind, thinking about everything and what had happened. And I picked up my bucket, which was a 2-gallon bucket. I would catch them in 2-gallon buckets to dump into my catch tub. I poured it over in there, and I sat down and I got to thinking again about everything that happened, and my family was gone. And I wanted to check how much I had run. I looked over and my flashlight was about 20 feet from me, sitting on the tailgate of a truck. I actually saw it, and something just told me, said, the hell with it, you don't need your flashlight. I reached in my pocket and lifted up my strainer cloth to keep anything from getting in my whiskey. I lifted it up and I took my lighter and I struck it. And as soon as I struck it, I knew I messed up.
For y'all that don't know this process, here it goes. Now, you got your beer mash in your copper pot. It's going to heat up and it's going to turn to alcohol vapors. That vapor is going to run across the arm down into the thump keg, where it's going to cool back into a liquid. As it cools back into a liquid, more vapors will come in. It's going to heat that up. It's going to turn back into a vapor. This is why it is called a doubler or second distiller. As those alcohol vapors heat up again, they're going to move up through the crossover pipe, down into the flake stand or condenser. Now, your coils is submerged in water. This is cooling the vapors back into a liquid. Now, this cooled liquid alcohol is going to come out the worm and into the catch tub, where it's then going to be graded, proofed, and ready for consumption.
That catch tub was on fire. Solid blue, white, crystal clear. You could almost not see it flame. And I had to make a choice on whether to walk out of there and let everything burn down, let the building burn down, let a propane tank blow up, possible large alcohol fire. I had a 2.5 gallon or 2.5 barrel outfit still, a lot larger than that, possibly catch on fire and blow up. Instinct told me to pick that catch tub up, bear hug it, pick it up and walk it out of that storage building or wherever I was at. Well, I tripped, and that alcohol splashed out of that catch tub. It splashed down my shirt, it run down my pants, it soaked into my socks, right in this area here. Wherever that alcohol went, that blue flame followed. I was walking flame. I finally realized to drop and roll to put myself out. When I did, I took my hands crossways like this up under my arms my thumbs went under both armpits, and when I jumped to roll, I broke this thumb. It actually went to here on my arm. I broke it. At that point, I started panicking. I went into panic mode and half shock. I tried to take my pants off. Didn't have overalls. I had regular pants. And how I burnt my hands was I was trying to unbutton my pants to take them off. That was my instinct, to get my pants off. So what are you going to do at that point? I couldn't call 911. I couldn't call the fire department and say, hey, I got a fire down here. My steel might blow up. What was I to do? I was hollering and screaming for my wife. I said, hey, come out here. There's been an accident. I know I scared her. She knew I was hurt. She didn't know what to do. I got in the car and my wife drove me to the local hospital. At that point, my whole body was shaking. I was hurting. I couldn't hold back the pain then at that point because it'd been probably close to an hour of walking around being burnt. I've got scars on my hands here, up my arms, down my arms. My thighs are on the inside of my thighs from here to here are burnt. And my shin from here to here, actually where my sock fit, was full of alcohol. And that's where my leg caught the worst. I had to have skin grafts. So, and that goes back to say, anybody that's out there that don't know what they're doing on YouTube, trying to look for answers or know how, and they think they know how, you can get hurt.
Bring up the temperature too quick.
Right.
I run slow. So we'll bring it up slow, but we'll see what happens.
What are you doing? I'm charging the thump. I'm loading up the thump keg up with some apple backings, and that's going to help us on the long run. I may pull some out of the steel too to bring the level up a little bit.
Aside from the dangers and risks for a moonshiner trying to get by, trust is the only way to survive. Now this trust is from the moonshiner's code, but sometimes the trust ain't there, code's broke, and that trust you ain't getting back.
I got a phone call one day from a friend of mine, and they needed some help. They was running low on some whiskey, and I said, well, come on over. I got about 5 gallons, and I don't want anything for it. I'm just giving it to you as friendship, to help you out. They showed up, and I'd never met him before, and things kind of went south with that partner he had, and she started tainting my liquor and stuff like that. I didn't know anything about it. And as far as doing the right thing, and people say shiner code and this and that, Jeff didn't know me from Adam's house cat, and it ate him up because he found out what this person was doing, and he called me. He goes, well, I got a 50-50 shot of him talking to me or telling me to kiss my ass. I don't want to just go on. Well, he called, we talked, and that was the right thing for Jeff to do because we've been together for over 1.5 years now. And he's my best partner when it comes to this shining business.
It started a few weeks ago when some guy, I guess he thought was smart to put out a report that they was investigated or seen by the GBI, and they was investigating somebody else. Well, one thing, that didn't make a lot of sense. It does not work that way. And I got a call from a very well-known, somebody who was very highly respected. And what she told me I knew was true, Her word is gold in this business. I set up the alarm, and before I even got the first 3 phone calls made, I've already got another call from a fellow shiner, which he's standing back there now, Rich Minnick, and he wanted to know what the heck was going on. And basically, it ended up with about, I would say probably, I know at least 5 or 6 of us that torn down and moved and just quit because we thought this guy was ratting us out. And what this boils down to is that we circle the wagons. You can tell who you can trust. That's why these people standing back here back with me today is because of that. We're showing unity, trust, and it's called code. That's what it is.
Shiner code to me means friendship and trust. You have a small circle of friends that you can actually talk to. It's not in a book. It's in your mind, it's in your heart. It's what the right thing to do is for a fellow shiner, and that's what shiner code is trust and friendship and always doing the right thing.
I have people ask me, what is code? Is there a book? And you see on the show, they never explain what code is. Code is a code of ethics. It's something that you know what is right and what is wrong. It's in your heart. That's what code is. You know what's right and you know what's wrong. You don't go turn in a fellow moonshiner because he's better than you or he makes better whiskey. You just try to make yours better. That's all you do. And when it comes down to it, we all try to help each other when things go down. That's basically what code is. It's a code of ethics, understanding, and care for one another, even though you may not always agree. But when it gets tough, you circle the wagons.
You'll find that there around here. I'm sure somebody will do it. Where did Brad go? Yeah, this is not a coon pecker. I don't do the D, I do the S.
I heard the coon pecker had protein to it.
To go a little bit further, November the 13th of this year, I called him and I said, Jeff, I don't feel good. I said, I just don't feel right. And plus he's had these issues in the past, in his own history. I said, Jeff, I don't feel good. I said, he told me he goes take 4 aspirin and call me in 30 minutes. I took 4 aspirin and I called him back a half hour. I said, I actually feel a little bit better. I can walk twice as far and I'm not as much out of breath as I was earlier. He said, get to the hospital. He said, go right now. I give him credit for saving my life because I had a heart attack the day after. I had a massive heart attack at 2 a.m. in the morning, and if I hadn't listened to what he told me, I wouldn't be here telling this story today. And that's the kind of friends that we are and we'll always will be.
Yeah.
Get mixed up. Then I go back counterclockwise and clockwise. 100 proof, dead on the money. 100. That's 100.
Jeff and Van are tighter than strings on a banjo. From the ups, the downs, the ins, the outs that brought them together, the future couldn't look any brighter for these two.
After all this happened, all the fraud and everything, I was getting ready to quit. Just hang it up. And then me and Van got to talking. And kind of put our stuff together, see what we could do. And he's learning brandy from me, and I'm learning corn from him. I do some tweaks to the corn, and what you see is what you get. It's turned out pretty good, I think. 'Cause we've had nothing but good reviews. And you go up there and you can mix it up with the baddest of bad. And you're coming out on close to being on top. You're getting everybody's attention. We're doing something right.
Ain't you been in a circle before?
Dude.
Deja vu.
Have you ever heard that song, Will the Circle Be Unbroken? No, it won't.
Not with him around, no.
Don't get a leg. Don't get a leg. They got those smelling that.
They need to get back there.
I could probably go a little bit longer on my bolts.
What's your length? I'd say you're 3. Is it?
But even at 28, the way that bear showed with the guns and everything. Hell.
Oh, look who's here.
Oh, it's his twin brother. Look, we're everywhere.
See, one time I was...
Smells like 96.
I didn't have a before, so I had to tell them. Bought me like
Tastes like 96.
That's good stuff right there, boy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now we went full circle.
Full circle, yes, sir.
Repeat.
You always gotta fill in the gaps.
No, but he went and bought me a bug master. So I
think this is 96 again.
But when I threw that bug
Which one's this?
Same jar.
Same jar.
I
You're in line next.
Oh, look who it
Oh
is.
look, here I am again.
But
Hey, I think this is 96.
I think it is.
What do you think, Johnny?
I'm trying to do where I live. I don't know where I live or what. I mean, nobody wants to know. No.
Wait a minute, it's the same jar.
I tried to.
Hey, when
you
we gonna get
complaining?
something else?
Well,
She's just as pissed
back to our circle of friends. I think we need to kick one out.
Yeah, they're with me. I see it. No. You know Trailer Park? You know What's Your Trail? You know Hell on You? Yeah. I know that one. Play it. I play it and we can sing it.
I want to be working in or running my own distillery. That's my goal, is go legal.
You know, I've done this all my life. Whether it's being full-time, part-time, or a couple of months here and there, it's always a part of what I wanted to do. In the next 5 or 10 years, I want to take what my grandfather taught me, what my daddy taught me, and what I know, and take it to the next level.
It's hard to get started, but going on 52 years old, it's time that I quit looking over my shoulder. Our products is good enough if we can run with anybody out there on that shelf. Taste test. You want to prove yourself? Taste test out of the pipe. That's all I'm telling you.
I want to fulfill my daddy's dream. His life got cut short. I'm lucky to still be here, and I'll say that because I had a heart attack. I'm still here, and while I've got that chance, I thank the good Lord above, and I want to fulfill his dream and mine. I want to put my whiskey on the shelf within the next 5 to 10 years.
I'm tired of looking over my shoulder. And plus, I start this. Who knows what down the road that some of my family members might pick it up after I'm gone. That's where I see myself in 5 to 10 years.
Just a Carolina man, leather neck and some callous hands. Born and raised on this stern, was a friend of pain and hurt. in the war and back again, and only loved one woman. The day they laid him in the ground, my world came crumbling down. Oh, Big Daddy, I got your footprints to guide my way. Oh, Big Daddy, I hope you're proud of who I am today. Ran whiskey in the dead of night, and always held grandmama tight. And that was just a way of life, but to me a code to live by. Oh, Big Daddy, I got your footprints to guide my way. Oh, Big Daddy, I hope you're proud of who I am today. Oh, Daddy, why'd you have to leave so soon? Don't worry none, I got your name. We'll push through. Oh, Big Daddy, got your footprints to guide my way. Oh, Big Daddy, I hope you're proud of who I am today. I hope you're proud of who I am today.
But we weren't rich and we weren't poor, but we had enough. Times I see the diamond that sun stood. But I carry that old man, the old-fashioned wisdom deep in my heart. I'm living proof. I've seen the gates of him and I walk right through. Life can knock me down if I want to. I stand right up and fight back 'cause I'm living proof.